Greetings everyone, my name is Revinda from French Studies of Universitas Indonesia. Alongside with my partner, Ms. Deka Lasman, we'll talk about the relationship between tradition and culture in Indonesia and the ongoing epidemic. Indonesia is a large country with a population of 200 million with a variety of ethnicities and customs. It is impossible to separate Indonesia from culture. However, due to the outbreak that spread so fast, it is difficult for people to live normally and carry out their activities again. This, of course, also threatens the sustainability of traditional rituals in Indonesia. The tradition that I'm going to talk about today is from Sumba called Marapu. Marapu is an original belief of Sumbanese in East Nusa Tenggara who believes in a direct connection between ancestor and reality. In the land of Sumba, the practice of traditional and religious rituals of Marapu can be found throughout the island of Sumba led by Ratu or tribal chief, and everyone including tourists could attend these rituals. Sumbanese Marapu funeral ceremonies involve Kedde, that is when family come to the funeral and bring buffalo or pig to be slaughtered as offering and sacrifice to the ancestor, and the family who brought them must witness it. It is strongly believed that the animal slaughtered will be the right and pets or treasure in Parai Marapu or heaven for the deceased, and the number of animals slaughtered will bring pride to the family. However, currently the COVID-19 pandemic is hampering most community activities, especially such activities that require physical interaction within. As a sacred event witnessed and attended by many people, the continuation of the Marapu funeral ceremony in Sumba is also threatened by the new policy that is taking place in Indonesia. The research problem for this study is how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the sustainability of custom, especially in West Sumba, using semi-ethnographic qualitative by Creswell and supported by interviews with indigenous people and health workers in Sumba. Marapu's funeral rituals have survived into modern times. The people of Sumba are still bound by the Marapu custom, which can be seen from the implementation of the Kedde ceremony to this day. Usually, modern society tends to leave the old culture, but not for the people of Sumba. The Kedde ceremony can be witnessed by anyone, even tourists from outside Marapu, so that it can become an attraction and help the tourism sector in Sumba. If it's related to a pandemic situation, the Kedde ceremony is still carried out as a form of respect for the deceased. According to Suzanne, through personal communication, who were willing to be interviewed about Kedde, she stated that until now there had been no changes in the implementation of Kedde. That indicates that the people are very loyal and obey to the ancestor. The spread of COVID occurs through physical contact between people so that it spreads quickly. As a traditional ceremony attended by many people, the Kedde ceremony is a ritual that collides with the COVID outbreak. The ceremony is usually held within a week, and the family left behind must always be ready to receive guests who wish to visit. In addition, there is a tradition of kissing the nose by Sumba people. However, with the existence of the COVID pandemic, it refrains the people from practicing the traditional ceremony correctly. This can be proven from the existence of a health protocol from the government that urges to avoid large numbers of people in an effort to reduce the spread of COVID transmission. In addition, the government also requires people to wear masks and not to have direct physical contact with other people, which is contrary to kissing the nose as part of a Sumba culture. According to local residents in Sumba through interviews, due to the COVID outbreak, there was a debate over the ritual of kissing the nose among Sumbanese residents. This happened because there were some people who refused to perform these rituals because they obeyed the health protocols from the government. During the pandemic, Marapu's funeral ceremony was carried out as usual, but at the beginning of the first baby period in Sumba, the tradition of the event had to be cut. Usually, the event took a week, but due to Corona, the event was shortened to 2 until 3 days. The number of slaughtered animals also decreased. Usually, Kedde could slaughter 5 buffaloes, but during COVID, there was only 1 buffalo that could be slaughtered. The indigenous people didn't mind about it because the situation is very emergency. Guests who come are also limited by the bereaved family. However, this changes only lasted briefly because when the government declared that Sumba was returning to the green or safe zone, the community returned to carrying out the Kedde ceremony with the original duration and number of animals as before the pandemic. According to Ms. Nefri, a health worker in Sumba through personal communication, the local government had given people free masks made of cloth in the hope that people would always use masks. At the beginning of the PSBB period, the government also provided a place for washing hands so that people could continue to wash their hands. However, according to Ms. Yani, an indigenous of Sumba, since 2 months ago the community has been unable to access the hand washing facilities in the village because the government has taken these facilities back. After knowing that the zone is back to green, which indicates that Sumba is safe, the community takes the situation lightly so that many people no longer wear masks. Therefore, public awareness is needed so that they can continue their activities by obeying the health protocols and avoiding the pandemic. The situation of corona in Sumba was reported by Media Indonesia, which stated that West Sumba was the first district to implement new normal with no case of corona. With that being said, that leads to the people of Sumba taking the pandemic situation very lightly and proceed to continue their tradition like usual despite being in the middle of corona. To end this analysis, here is a video of a grave being dismantled as a result of a non-reactive test result from COVID rapid test. For a better context, the grave of a body that had been buried was dismantled by Sumbanese residents because the rapid test results stated that it was non-reactive. In addition to proving that funeral rituals are very important, the video also proves that people do not mind if they do not carry out a funeral service if the body is a COVID patient. Even though they show a feeling of not being afraid of COVID, they still obey orders from medical personnel to follow burial standards if the community is exposed to COVID. In conclusion, COVID only affected the ritual of Marapu during PSBB period with no changes. The people keep doing their usual activities such as carrying the tradition with their positive mindset that Sumba is corona-free despite the rest districts in Indonesia are having a health emergency. With the tradition having no significant transformation during the pandemic, that indicates that the tradition is holding important meaning for the people of Sumba. That brings us to the end of presentation. Thank you for your attention.